next one in the series is TSR Stock Strength Index. So those who have attended our previous sessions give you a little background about the technical strength index. Now, what this thing is, maybe in the screener that will give you some idea about what it is. Now we go here, TSR Strength Index. Strength Index, again, let me expand it. We go to TSR Strength Index. Now I'm looking for finding the most bullish stocks that we or our software using certain machine learning and AI finds it. So among the stocks, the most bullish stocks are here, right? Very strong bullish stocks. We'll go with this thing. Bajaj Finance looks the most bullish on daily tick, right? Why we find that to be most bullish is when we look at the chart, right? It will give you a fairly good idea. This is going continuously up and with a pretty decent momentum, right? Or Asian Paint, if you see, it's going up. Now, it helps you to filter out stocks. Now, when you look at an individual stock, right, or an individual indicator, then it may give you idea just based on that indicator. For example, certain times you see that one indicator says bullish, the other indicator says bearish, right? So users gets confused. What we try to do is we try to go with 100+ parameters. In fact, it's far more than that. And then we try to basically remove the outliers, give weightage to certain things which we feel is more important, and then we produce this thing. So it definitely gives you a list of the stocks which are there, right? So looking at this thing, you look at the stocks, all these stocks are doing pretty well in recent times, right? So that's what it filters out. So this is how you'll find the bullish stocks. Now, when you look at the Bajaj Finance here, you'll see that the stock is pretty bullish when it comes to TSR Strength Index. It is about 87% bullish, and it also tells you that it is more bullish than 99% of the stocks in the universe, right? So it gives you an idea. Now, the other thing I was mentioning, right? Some of them says that it is good, it is bullish. Some says it's bearish, right? So if you are very comfortable in a particular indicator, let's say CCI, right? Then you'll probably not look for anything. If you have a very good command of understanding CCI, then I mean, based on your expertise level, you'll directly trade with this particular indicator. But if you want to get more holistic overview of things, then you'll look for something like TSR Strength Index, and then which will remove some of the outliers. Like if you see that the overlays are good, certain things are amber, certain things are dark green, certain things are mild green, and things like that. Not only covers technicals, but it covers chart patterns. It covers lot many more things. Fibonacci, a lot of other stuff. It covers resistance, support, chart patterns, and quite a few things it takes into consideration before it prints. Like here, it's gap up, right? Formed at uptrend. Now, this automatically should give you more. This should give you more confidence, right? It is a gap up, and that too in the uptrend. Very, very strong signal of bullish continuation pattern, right? When you look at this, so it is not only going up, but gap up, that too at its recent highs. That means momentum is pretty good out here. Right? Of course, you have to look at the charts to come and before you make a trading decision, right? You have to look at all the other aspects. But this is what will give you a very good idea about the general direction of the stocks, right? So going back to the index, so what we have identified as strong bullish stocks. The next one in this series is all bullish stocks on 30 minutes. Now, this strength index, right, is calculated every 5 minutes, right? So depending on what you are trading, you're a swing trader or intraday, or depending on what you trade, you can always go and look at this. So which is all bullish stocks on 30 minutes, right? So these are all bullish stocks on 30 minutes. So here we have is mild bullish. So if you are looking at strong only, this type strong, you'll find only strong bullish stocks, right? So there's one strong bullish stock on 30 minutes, which is Coal India. So let's look at Coal India. So this is the graph of Coal India. Towards the end of the day, if you see, right? If you see towards end of the day, it has gone up with very good volume, right? So anybody who's trailing or tracking these things towards end of the day, it's likely that it will go up above tomorrow also. Tomorrow means next working day. Looking at the chart, it clearly looks like it has breached the Bollinger Band. So let's go and look at the Bollinger Band. Again, a very good indicator of the volatility. See, it has clearly breached the Bollinger Band. So if somebody had tracked it here, it has breached Bollinger Band and it's still going up there. Right? So very strong momentum. So, and then this is narrowing of band. That means it was in consolidation area, broken the support, sorry, resistance, and then it has never reached the stop loss, right? It's still going up. So this is one of the way of looking and understanding the chart. We'll try to cover these things in more details in the subsequent sessions of some of the core stuff which is required for stock analysis. Next in line is financial strength, right? So similar to technical, what we have is financial strength. What you are interested in, let's say you are interested in growth stocks. Growth stocks will clearly give you that where the top line is, right? Which is primarily revenue and many more factors. So similar to what we do for technical, we use lots and lots of parameters, historical patterns on the balance sheets, or rather on the financial statements, rather a lot of ratios. We have our own proprietary ratios. We use all of them to create the index. So in this series, if you see, the best stocks which is looking in terms of growth is InfoEdge, right? So when you go into InfoEdge, look at this thing. So from growth perspective, it's pretty good, right? From value perspective, it's good. From profit perspective, it's good, and stability perspective is also very good. Right? Now, if somebody is looking only at one aspect, right? So there are certain things which are red, certain things which are green, right? From solvency perspective, it looks very good, right? So there's less risk of company getting bankrupt. From growth perspective, it's good valuation. There's certain good, certain bad, right? So overall, when you see this thing, so this is where the growth comes in, right? So you can always go and drill down into things later, right? Also, what you can do is you can look at the chart view. What is terrific about it? There are a lot of things which are terrific. Paid more than 50% of the debts, heading towards debt-free. Again, a very good sign. What is risky? Stock return is not so good, right? So low dividend. So there are certain things which are steady. For example, quarterly sales in last 5 years is trending up. So it will give you a fairly good idea about the fundamentals of the stock. So the topic of discussion is purely strength. So we'll go back to strength. Growth stocks by high to low. The second one is what we are looking for is strength, value strength. So go here, look at the value, TSR value. So what we are looking here is excellent value stocks. Looking at this, so from value perspective, this is good. ONGC, let's go and drill down into the stock. From valuation, you see there are quite a lot of dark greens here. Right? One of them is red, which we don't have the value here, forward PE, we have not calculated this, but rest of these things looks good. So what it helps you is basically it tries to remove the outliers, focus on some of the things, it provides the right weightage to things so that you get a complete picture. Now, from value perspective, it is pretty good, right? But from growth perspective, it's not so good. We don't expect public sectors to be very good in terms of growth, so that you should know. From stability, it's pretty good. Profitability, it's somewhere in between. So there's no clear direction, right? It gives you a very good idea about the stocks using one of the strength index. Similarly, there are other ones, which is profitability and stability. I'll just give you one stability one. Excellent stability. So excellent stability is like Gland Pharma. When you click on this one, it will give you from stability perspective. Number one is Altman Z-score. Where is it? Yeah, Altman Z-score is pretty good, right? Very, very stable zone. Then stability is from the solvency perspective, you see that all are very, very good. Debt to equity is like there's hardly any debts compared to this thing, right? So it looks like a very stable company. So I leave the rest of the exercise on these things to you guys. My idea was to give you pointers, how to drill down into some of the other stuff. And the next one is very interesting. It will give you something not beta, but very similar to beta is the relative strength. Right? What relative strength is? It gives you the strength vis-a-vis a certain basically base, right? where the base can be Nifty 50, most common one, or base can be anything that you may be interested in. Right? So, for example, we are looking at Nifty 50 returns of the stocks which are vis-a-vis Nifty 50 on maybe 1 year period. Click here. So these are stocks which has given a return of, sorry, 1 week. Sorry. Looking at 3 months, right? So this stock, Mahindra and Mahindra, has given return of 26%. Nifty has given return of 0.35, right? So this stock is the best stock vis-a-vis Nifty when you go back to 3 months. Looking at the chart, right? So this is where Nifty is. This is where Mahindra and Mahindra is. Paytm, now surprisingly, Paytm is doing good. a lot of people would be feeling relaxed because anybody who has bought it about 6 months back or IPO are always crying. So there's at least some good sign on Paytm. So Nifty returns is pretty average or hardly any return, which is hardly any return, whereas return of this thing of Paytm is much better. Right? So you increase the area, then you'll see that Paytm is much worse. If you go all the way back to November timeframe last year, so the return is pretty bad here when it comes to Paytm compared to Nifty. Nifty is much better. Nifty is also neutral, but this is a lot negative. So that's the idea of relative strength. You can use any of these basically broad-based index here. You can look at the period, maybe 1 year period, using, for example, Nifty Midcap 150. 1 year period. Look at the stocks. So these are the returns, right? So return of Adani Transmission. Again, Adani siblings are coming on top when it comes to 1 year. Right. So basically, Adanis are giving far better return when it comes compared to Nifty Midcap. Not everything is Midcap, but you can always compare with any of the broad-based index here. Right. So that's about relative strength. We'll cover relative strength in little more details in the second session, which is in afternoon, which is where you'll have much better control over tuning. These are all pre-screened, where you have very minimal flexibility. These are pre-created for you. Just use it. When we go into the strategy builder in the afternoon, that's where you'll find a lot better flexibility. Okay. Fair value screener. Now, fair value is this one. We calculate fair value based on quite a few models. Again, this is something which is a general framework of fair value calculation is there, documented, but the exact mechanism of this thing is not very standardized. Every organization or every analyst, they calculate in slightly different way. Right? So some of the stuff that we have calculated is discounted cash flow, DCF with free cash flow model, EBITDA model, revenue model, access control, and quite a few things which you can be looking at it. So, for example, the most common one is free cash flow. When you look at this thing, price below fair value, when you look at this, so the price versus fair value, right, is 93. So Dr. Reddy looks like that, it's trading below fair value, right? One of the prime reason is it got beaten down quite badly in recent times. That's why it's trading below its fair value, right? Keep caution when you do it. If you don't understand these things very well, these are very powerful tool, but at the same time, you have to look at all the aspects related to the fair values, right? A lot of people will feel that if it's trading below fair value, we should buy it. Should look at a lot of other factors related to recent company news. The fair values are calculated pretty much on end of the quarter based on the results. And of course, we do calculate certain things related to the current price, like enterprise value and so on. But always look at the current news. If the news is really bad in the company or in the sector or in the basically global macroeconomic policies or something, right? So price tends to go below fair value, or it can go very high. One of the things that you should be looking at is, rather than this, you should be looking more at the price which is more expensive, which is trading far beyond the fair value, to preserve your capital. If anything goes wrong, then those stocks are likely to fall at a much steeper rate. Right? So quite a few fair values are here. Feel free to use them, analyze them. I'll recommend you to, unless you understand it very well, don't go for things. Right? So there are multiple fair values that we calculate. These are some of the fair values. We have Graham number also, price to Graham number. We have Peter Lynch fair value. Then we have Piotrowski score. Quite a few things are here, which will give you that where the stocks are. Now, if you see, all these are very, very standard and mechanical way of doing things. So one may not be same as this. Like price to Peter Lynch is 1.75 for this one, which is price is trading above fair value. If you look at Graham number, it is 1.9. Whereas when we go back to our fair value, it was below the fair value, right? Based on EBITDA, based on a discounted cash flow, free cash flow, right? So depending on what your comfort level is, start using that or analyzing it for your further use. So that covers about the TSR stock strength.